Introduction of SDS page. First is polyacrylamide gels are formed by the reaction of acrylamide and base acrylamide that results in highly cross-linked gel matrix. Second, the gels act as a sieve-through which the protein move in response to the electric field. The third is protein contain on overall positive or negative charge. This enables the movement of a protein molecule to the isoelectric point at which the molecule has no net charge. The last is by denaturing the proteins and giving them a uniform negative charge, it is possible to separate them based on the size as they migrate to the positive electrode. So this is picture for SDS page of protein sample and color burst protein market. First, protein sample and marker loaded in vertical SDS page system. They go through to direction of migration of sample in vertical SDS page system, and last SDS page gel after Comercy blue staining.
The technique of SDS page is composed of gel preparation, sample preparation, and electrophoresis to allow protein separation by molecular weight. There are a few steps in the gel preparation. First, all reagents are combined except for TMAT for the preparation of the gel. TMAT is added when the gel is ready to be poured. Secondly, the separating gel is poured into the casting chamber. Butanol being added before polymerization to remove the unwanted air bubble present. The comb being inserted in the space between the glass plate. Next, we will have a look at the sample preparation. First, heating the proteins to 95 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes in the presence of excess SDS and agents such as beta-mercaptoethanol. This will result in complete unfolding of the secondary and tertiary structure. Molecules are being stretched, sulfide bridge are cleaved, and SDS bind to the amino acid. It's a common practice to run a standard mixture with compound of non-molecular weight. Next to the sample for direct comparison of migration distance. Electrophoresis is the movement of electrically charged particle or molecule in a conductive liquid medium under the influence of an applied electric field. Gel electrophoresis starts when the gel cassette is being removed from the casting stand and placed in the electrode assembly. The electrode assembly is fixed in the clamp stand. 1 times electrophoresis buffer is poured in the opening of the casting frame to fill the wells of the gel. 30 ml of the denatured sample in the well being pipette. The tank is then being covered with a lid and the unit is connected to a power supply. The sample is allowed to run for about an hour before the bands are seen under the UV light. And the last is gel staining. Protein spots are not visible without staining. Staining is a form of direct comparison to highlight difference across samples. There are 3 main types of staining, which is the Comercy blue stain, silver staining, and fluorescent staining.
Now, we will take a look at principle of SDS page. In SDS page, a charged molecule migrates to the electrode with the opposite sign when placed it in an electric field. Actually, the general electrophoresis technique cannot be used to determine the molecular weight of biological molecules because the mobility of a substance in the gel depends on both charge and size. So, separation of the charged molecule depends on the relative mobility of charged species. Here, the smaller molecules of protein migrate faster due to less resistance during electrophoresis. The structure and charge of proteins also the other influences on the rate of migration. Sodium dodecyl sulfate and polyacrylamide gel largely eliminates the influence of the structure and charge of the proteins. Then, the proteins separated based on the length of polypeptide change. polyacrylamide forms a mesh-like matrix suitable for the separation of proteins of typical size. So, polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis of STS-treated proteins allow to separate proteins based on their length. After the visualization by a staining technique, the size of a protein can be calculated by comparing its migration distance with that of a known molecular weight ladder or marker.
Application of STS page. There are a few applications of STS page, which are STS page used to measuring molecular weight, protein quantitation, used in Western blotting of protein ubiquitination, staining of protein in gel by reusing commercial cassette. STS page also used for comparison of the polypeptide composition of different samples, used to estimation of protein size, and analyze post-translational modification, used in mapping protein, and used to estimate the purity of the protein.
Next is the video of how the STS page works based on their principle. In this video, we can see the protein separation based on the molecular weight. We also can see in the STS page the protein also treated with the addition of beta-mercaptoethanol that will reduce the disulfide bond. From that, it will result into unfold protein. Polyacrylamide gel divided into two layers, which is the stacking gel at above with pH 6.8. It is to concentrate all protein in one band, and the separating gel at the below with pH 7.8. It was allowed to the protein separation. In this video, we can see how the protein sample pipetted into the well. It also showed the negatively charged protein that will through the gel from anode to cathode. We can see in this video the staining process of the protein using the Commercy blue. And at the end, the different protein can be reviewed.